Hey there everybody, Eric from OUTER LIMITLESS coming at you today with another video. Now today's video is very exciting for me. Now if you watch a lot of YouTube, but more specifically gear reviewers who cover knives and blades, over the past 6 or 8 months you've seen a ton of coverage of the company Work Tuff Gear. So today I got my hands on one of their blades. Here I have the Tayal. Now this to me is just the perfect overall size for a good quality companion knife, something that's going to do good hard field use, but in my opinion is a great match for something like an axe or a saw. Now at this time this is one of their newest models. They have a couple of new models coming out, but this is one of their newer models. This is really a smaller knife to the Tayal, which is a nice large wilderness blade, but this here a good quality belt knife capable of doing some good hard use, and I'm extremely happy to get my hands on this. So before we go too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Work Tuff Gear who have provided this for review. Now this video today is really a first impressions video. I will be following this up definitely with some good hard field use, but in today's video I just wanted to get a first look at this, my first impressions, and get this on camera for all of you. Now if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what we're about to talk about, do me a favor, stay tuned. So this Tayal is a 4.8-inch overall blade made of SK85. Now Japanese SK85 is a carbon steel. Personally, I'm not that familiar with it. This is my first knife in that particular steel. So it's gonna be great to get this out into the field and really see how it performs. But the first thing is that the Tayal people of Taiwan lived in the mountains. For me, that's perfect. When you really talk about some of these traditional knife shapes, they are functional and they are time tested. And for me, where I'm one that goes deep into the mountains, having a knife that has sort of that heritage is definitely a bonus. But the overall shape, this nice upswept sort of trailing point design, just beautiful and functional. Now typically for me in the outdoor application, I do tend to prefer more of a drop point design, but I can see already that this trailing point design will be very functional. A nice cutting belly here, good for slicing tasks, food prep, maybe getting into, your fire or while you're cooking and using it for general camp tasks. I think for me this is going to be great. Now a lot of times with this type of design you get very dainty at the tip. That's not at all the case here with this Tayal. That is a nice stout tip. I think this should be good and durable. I'll be curious to see how it is cracking it with a baton. I mean, any knife for me that's going to be used in the outdoor wilderness and camping environment, I tend to baton. That's something I enjoy. It's something I rely on, and that'll definitely be the case for this Tayal. Now the overall finish is an acid stonewash finish. If you've been watching my TFK T17 build, you'll notice that I use the acid stonewash finish. I love it for a couple of reasons. One is it's a good quality, durable finish. As you use the knife in hard use, it really adds to the overall look and feel. I love the idea that this finish scratches up and it kind of weathers in, and it gives it an overall just natural patina that comes with good hard use. I greatly enjoy that. I love that about the finish, but even more so, it even protects the blade. So you get that added bonus where it's not like a traction coating that gets all gunked up. It's a good smooth surface, good smooth overall coating, protects the blade, and just looks damn sweet. Now keeping in mind the fact that right now I just have a good heavy coat of grease on here. This did not come with this particular heavy coat of grease. It actually did come factory coated, but I've had this in storage now for a little bit. Again, just not being completely familiar with the SK85, I do like to keep a good amount of grease on my fixed blades when I keep them in storage. And I actually came out here and didn't wipe it off, and I really don't have a good means to do that right now. So don't hold that against the blade. But again, just that beautiful upswept blade, nicely shaped, beautiful cutting edge, just that nice finish, and overall just a gorgeous look. Now the other thing I can tell you is this has a nice sharp spine. So the jimping is mild, but the spine is going to be quality. I believe certainly capable of scraping a fire steel or maybe doing some scraping of bark or things like that. So nice and squared off. Not amazingly sharp, but definitely suitable. Now, I too watch a lot of YouTube, so the more and more I've seen these knives, the more and more I was really curious about how they'd feel in the hand. And the first thing when I got this out of the box is this is absolutely amazing. This handle is absolutely perfectly shaped, perfectly sized, has just the exact location for that thumb ramp where your thumb just indexes very nicely up against that guard, nicely rounded and sculpted. There is not a single hot spot anywhere on this knife. And the other thing that Work Tuff Gear is doing beautifully is hand sanding the finish. So not only do you have this beautiful sculpting all the way around, but at the end of it all, just beautifully, absolutely beautifully sanded to the perfect finish. Nothing raised, nothing recessed. They do a gorgeous job. I can tell you already, these guys absolutely mean business. Just the way the scales are bolted on and the total look here, just beautifully done. You have a nice size finger choil, which I do like, and even for a slightly smaller blade size than sometimes I carry in the camping and backpacking application, having that finger choil is nice to do some good fine work, some carving or anything like that. I like the control you get with a finger choil, so the fact that you have it here on the Tayal is definitely sweet. A nice generous size lanyard hole, again just a little bit exposed. If you wanted, you could probably do a little bit of pounding. Now personally I don't do too much of that, but I could see you being able to do that. Even with the oversized lanyard, I don't think you'd cause any damage to the pommel end of this knife. Now there are a number of different color options. If you take a look, they have a bunch of beautiful looks, but this one here in the green and black, just nicely done. And it's clever how they start. You'll notice that they specifically started with the black on the inside. It just gives it a look of a liner. It gives it a little separation and a little bit of pop up against the tang of the knife. Now another thing that they did very well that I greatly like is the fact that this has these scallops up next to the blade. I do love these alternate grips for food prep and slicing, kitchen tasks, things like that. The idea that you can get a nice pinch on the knife, really grip with your palm right in there, feels nice and comfortable, gives you excellent control. So that's another thing that I greatly like, just these nice, soft, and well done scallops, just beautiful. And now for the sheath, this does come with a nicely formed kydex, so factory kydex, solid click, decent retention. The first thing I found, a little bit of rattle here. It's not the tightest. This is a very simple fix. Now I think the overall retention is gonna be fine, so don't get me wrong, it's not an overall retention issue, but what it really is just a little bit of a rattle. So either side of the sheath, just put a little dimple in there and it'll keep it kind of tight. You could do that with a lighter, heat it up maybe with a hair dryer, something very simple, not going crazy. You don't want to really heat this kydex and warp it, but a tiny little mod there would tighten that up, get rid of that rattle. But overall, a good quality kydex. You do end up with a small drainage hole on the back, good placement of the rivets. Now this comes with a dangle style sort of kydex insert with the strap here. The strap is good. I've actually seen other reviewers talking about their older style where it had actually a kydex piece that slapped around. I believe that this webbing was included now as an upgrade or a modification to their original sheaths just to try to quiet down the carry system. It does add the ease of getting this on your belt, which is nice. For me personally, I really love carrying a knife inverted on my shoulder, especially on a pack. And now that I have this forest jacket, it's something I can carry just right here regularly. So I would personally probably put some sort of a tech lock or a molly lock on my sheath. So the idea being, and when I get back to the studio, we're gonna check this for the overall fit to a tech lock. I think this is standard spacing by the initial look at it, but we'll verify that for sure. So real briefly here in the studio, I have removed the factory carry system And my goal right now is to put on one of these molly locks. The idea being that I can carry this vertically and inverted on my jacket for my typical field use. So at this point, I'm trying to get some longer hardware in there to accommodate it. Basically, I need to put some of these little standoffs in order to clear the kydex, but unfortunately, this is not a standard size eyelet. These are undersized and the hardware will not fit. So taking a look here, you'll see with my TFK T17 sheath, this fitting in nicely, goes right inside the rivets. But unfortunately on this Work Tuff Gear sheath, this hardware is just not going to fit. These eyelets, even though they look about the same, if you really compare them, look very similar, but the inner diameter is smaller. So these are not your standard size, and unfortunately the hardware just won't fit. So I'm gonna have to get creative. I know I can make this work, but the standard hardware that does come with the Work Tuff Gear sheath is slightly smaller. It's just something to be aware of. But in terms of the actual eyelet spacing, as I look here, it does appear as though everything aligns nicely. So you can see there that this all does align. So the spacing does appear to be standard. It's just the overall eyelet size. And yeah, there you can see, you know, all of these eyelets are properly spaced. Just a sizing on the inner diameter of those eyelets is going to be a little bit difficult. So for me, the idea that this has good secure lockup, I'm not worried about this. The retention is fine. I can carry it inverted, and this for me will just become a beautiful companion knife while I'm out on the trails. So again, just a nice quality sheath with that thumb ramp, nice deployment, 0.08 thick kydex. To me is the perfect size, not too thick, not too thin, nicely formed, has their stamp right in there, just beautifully done. And then again, getting back to the blade, just the laser etching and the way this entire package has come together, I am overall extremely impressed. So again, I'd like to say thank you very much to Victor and the Work Tuff team for providing this for review. I cannot wait to get this out into the field, provide a good quality field test of this Tayal. I can tell you already, I know it's going to perform. It's not even a question. It's just a matter for me of really getting used to this SK85 Japanese steel, seeing how it performs, and the overall toughness of this trailing point design. So all right guys, there you have it, a look at this Tayal. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy looking at these Work Tuff knives. I can tell you already, these guys really do absolutely mean business. The knives you've seen so far, I believe, will be just the start of a lot of good, hard use quality, I would say outdoor hard use fixed blades. That to me is exactly what I want. I'm the outdoor hard use fixed blade guy, so a company like this greatly resonates with me. The fit, the finish, the quality, the comfort, the style, you really can't go wrong. So all right guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.